Coach, tell me, what does it mean to you? Obviously, you've been to the Sweet 16 quite a bit, to be going through this with your son, who happens to be one of your best players.
It's been great. You know, obviously, when your son plays for you, you have an extra worry component to what you're doing. You're worried about your team, but you're also worried that your son does well. And it's fun to see him playing this way. And it's really more important because it's helping our team. And you know, he's about winning. I remember during the season we weren't winning, and he was playing well, but we weren't winning, and he was crying in his room about, you know, I just want to win. And that's nice to have from any player on your team, that kind of attitude, and that's what he's always had, and it's fun to be around that.
Buddy, welcome to the show, and of course, always welcome to the show, Coach. I always love talking to you. I got to get to you, buddy, about this because, you know, I have been on the record stating that the greatest show in the history of college basketball was Dwayne Pearl Washington, who starred, obviously, for your dad at Syracuse. Of course, there's Carmelo, there's Billy Owens, there's Derek Coleman, there's Sherman Douglas, the whole crew, the list goes on and on. I want to know, coming into this season, knowing that you were going to be a fixture on this roster, being that Jim Boeheim is your dad, what kind of pressure was it like for you, knowing that you had some things to live up to because there is some tradition at Syracuse like I just highlighted?
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Ever since I got here, there's been some pressure. If I have a bad game, he's only playing because his dad or this and that. And I think my freshman year it got to me a little more than usual. I started off slow, so that didn't help. But once I started to prove myself more and more, I felt more comfortable and just felt like I had to go out there and try to win games for us. And I think this year I started off slow, but I just kept my head down and worked hard. And I got people like him believing in me, my coaches, my teammates. So that always helps. And just focusing on winning games and trying to help this team win. So it was tough at first, but I think I've adjusted pretty well.
Well, you're right about Pearl Washington, Stephen. As my oldest son, who goes to Cornell, and says, I love Stephen Smith. Now, usually Cornell guys are smarter than that, but, you know, I guess there's an exception to everything. But, you know, yeah, Pearl was one of a kind, but I've been lucky to have a lot of great players, and that's how you coach for 45. People ask me, how do you coach for 45 years? You get players like that and try to get them to play together, and it's been fun doing it. This year has been probably one of the most fun seasons we've had because we really struggled. We were struggling this year, and I'm sure Max and a few other people didn't think we should be in the tournament for a long time, and they were probably right until right near the end, and then we kind of did get together, and I think we deserved to get in, but it was close. It was a close call.
Everything you said is true, Coach, but back in 2003, I picked you guys way ahead of time to win the whole thing. I thought Carmelo was the best player in the world. But, you know, watching the tournament without Jerry McNamara, you guys don't win that thing. And I think that this is in a year so far in a tournament with so many great stories, I think the Syracuse story is the best one. We debated that the other day. And part of it, buddy, is the McNamara piece of it, where you're shooting, you can't throw it in the ocean, and he comes up to you and set the scene for me. What happened?
I'm shooting him in warm-ups, getting ready for the second half, and I just look over, and he's looking at me with that look he always gives me. He comes up to me and says, I don't care if you miss 200, keep shooting, 200 in a row, keep shooting. I know you can make 200 in a row, so don't stop. And he always just tells me, sometimes he'll just look at me and be like, who's the best shooter on the planet? And I'll just say me. And he gives me that confidence. I work with him more than anyone every day for an hour, hour and a half, and there's no one better to have in your corner than him.
It is still pretty close as to who's the best shooter. It's a close call. They shoot a lot. They shoot every day. It's kind of like when I used to watch Clay and Steph shoot in the Olympics. I watched them shoot every day after practice, and you looked around when they missed one. It was that crazy.
Wow. Coach, you know what? This is a beautiful conversation, but you got a tough matchup coming up. I mean, Houston is no joke. This kid Grimes hits like 42% from three-point range. I'm watching them right now. What kind of a threat do they pose to you guys, and how are you going to win? How are you going to beat them to advance to the Elite Eight?
Well, we're not going to tell you how we're going to beat them, but they're in the top 5 in the country in defense and offensive efficiency. That's the best. That's the best there is. So when you're playing a team that's good on both ends of the court, that's a tough matchup. But the great thing about this tournament, you look at Loyola over Illinois, you look at Oral Roberts, you look at you can look at a lot of teams right now. A month ago, Oregon State wasn't even going to get in the NIT, and now they're in the Sweet 16. So that's college basketball. It's a great thing. Guys leaving early, guys going to the G League early, brings the top level teams down a little bit, and it just makes it more equitable. This new transfer rule, getting everybody out there, there'll be transfers all over the country. That'll make it a little bit even more equitable as we move forward. And it'll be hard to get a tournament where there's a clear favorite, which there is this year. I think Gonzaga is a clear favorite, but it's nobody would be surprised if they did lose a game in this tournament.
Buddy, I got to ask you because, listen, you can't fly under the radar anymore. You're on national television. You're on First Take, baby. Everybody knows who you are. Everybody knew who you are because you're hitting jumpers all over the place in the conference tournament and the NCAA tournament. You're going up against Houston again. They're an elite defensive team, and now you're in the eye of the storm. How are you going to handle this, sir?
Just same way as always. Put my head down, have a great week of practice and workouts, and I know that they're going to be chasing me off screens and always keeping an eye on me. So just moving without the ball, playing with my guys, and just trying to go out there and win and not force anything, let the game come to me. And I know my teammates will help me out, and they'll make big plays as well. They've all contributed and helped us just as much as I have in this run.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.